Hey all, welcome back to another Lenormand reading. Today I'm curious as to what kind of Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be. I'm going to be using a 9-card spread or a portrait spread with my Lenormand discs. And I'm using this as a way to learn how to read Lenormand more effectively for myself. And I'm uploading these videos so that I can learn how to edit videos and that kind of thing. So this is all a learning experience for me personally. Cool. So tell you what, let's not waste any time. I'm going to go ahead, shake the bag, and then I stop when my guiding spirit tells me to stop. I'm still getting a signal to keep shaking. Okay, so we're going to take the time to pull out 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I may have grabbed one more amongst what I was supposed to get. That's okay. Okay. So I'm waiting for a signal. Actually, yeah. Okay. Let's start putting them out. What kind of vice president, what kind of vice president is Kamala Harris going to be? Now, interesting already, I can see that she's going to cause a real reckoning. This is her present reality, or what she's headed for, so to speak. Okay, let me finish flipping these guys up. Now, this is interesting. In my Joe Biden, what does Joe Biden have to look forward to as far as his presidency? I got the lily next to woman, and back then I said, I'm getting the sensation that that's Kamala Harris. I said in that Joe Biden reading that Kamala Harris was going to figure in some way in how Joe Biden expanded himself, right? He's not going to be able to do this by himself. He's going to need Kamala Harris's influence. And that kind of makes sense. That kind of makes sense with the lily popping up. That is, in this case, about establishing oneself, wisdom, that kind of thing. So here, let me tell you what, we're going to start off with her central theme and her context. So let me pull these over here. So here what we have is a reckoning. She's going to be putting a sudden end, quite possibly, to it's sitting on the house of the tree. She's going to be cutting down a tree, so to speak, that has grown up. I'm getting the sensation that this is a poisonous tree, that this is somehow rooted in, I'll be honest, it's rooted in the previous administration. She's going to be putting a ripstop to that. I see some changes. I see some revolutionary changes. Stork can often point to cycles. But in this case, with Stork together, I see a new cycle, right? She's putting an end to with the revolution, with the changes, she's putting an end to some revolutionary changes that are poisonous, that have taken root as poisonous trees, if you will. So that's the central situation. That is what I personally see as a relative beginner to Lenormand readings. So that's the central thing. Scythe, cutting down a tree. It appears on the house of the tree. context, we take a look at the corner discs. So this is her taking on, this is a great burden. I'll be honest, this looks like it's going to be a burden, this getting established. It's a big opportunity. It's huge. On the other hand, this is going to be a heavy burden to carry around for her. I think that she's up for it, but we'll see as this reading progresses. With the fish, I'll try to point like this, with the fish and the bouquet together, this points to some valuable surface level social interactions. And as a politician, you would have to be quite adept. I'd imagine that you'd have to be quite adept at knowing which social relationships to value the most, right? I'm kind of not surprised that Fox is showing up in this reading. She is going to have to be watching out for herself in this particular political atmosphere. This atmosphere has not been exactly friendly to her, right? She is going to have to really watch out for herself, in addition to establishing these new revolutionary changes that are coming through. So that's her context. I want to take a look at the different levels that she's operating on. So on this top level with a portrait reading, that's what she wants on a conscious level, or what's operating on not a surface level, but what is operating that we can see, you know. This is what is operating on a level that we can see. And here on the middle row, I'll try to point a little bit better. Here on this middle row, this is her present reality. We may or may not be able to see all of this, but this is what is currently happening. And here underneath on the bottom row is the undercurrent. What lies beneath all of this, right? So she's really having to wrangle with self-interested groups. She's really also quite possibly having to put herself first and really think about which surfacey level relationships are going to be the most valuable for her at this current time. She's a politician. I wouldn't expect anything less from this. So yes, on a conscious level, what we can see is that this is a big burden. She is the first female vice president that we've had, I believe, in our history. This is a huge opportunity for her. On the other hand, it's a decent burden, and I think that anyone who's accustomed to watching American politics can see that this is a new burden that she's never had to deal, a new kind of burden that she's really never had to deal with before. And on her reality level, kind of like what we discussed earlier, she is bringing about a real reckoning with some revolutionary changes, right? This is going to be an interesting thing. She's going to be instrumental in establishing something that's going to be able to stick around for a while. But the undercurrent shows me that she's going to need to be on her toes pretty much at all times. And, as a politician, that makes sense to me. So that's one way to read a portrait spread. The other way is vertically. So with the vertical side of things, we have the past, we have the present, and we have where things could be headed in the future. So here we've got some changes in what she considered to be valuable as far as establishing oneself. So what this is bringing to mind, that perhaps after winning the election, she realized, okay, now that this has happened, Now we need to go forward in this way. That's what I see happening in the past. She realized that establishing oneself is a deeply important thing that needs to happen if this is going to be successful. And she understands that maybe she needed to change how she approaches the vice presidency, considering now that this is for real, possibly. All for entertainment purposes, allegedly. I'm inexperienced, all that kind of good stuff. So what's going on in her present? Once again, the scythe is about having a reckoning with these opportunities, these self-serving opportunities. I wonder if there haven't been some opportunities to be selfish, right? There's a difference between taking care of yourself and being selfish. And I wonder if she hasn't had to have a reckoning with her own selfish desires for opportunities. I don't know that to be for sure, right? Again, allegedly entertainment purposes only. And someone else may see something different, to be honest. But for right now, this is what I see. Now we've got the future. Opening up to a social burden. This is going to be a tough job for her. I'm getting a sensation that this is going to be a taxing job, that this is going to be a job that she's going to have to pick up her cross and carry it, so to speak. This is not going to be an easy. I don't see the mountains appearing anywhere in this reading, but in a sense, they are. In a sense, they are appearing. So last and not least, with the kind of portrait spread that I'm accustomed to, and by the way, I've read it almost completely thoroughly. This is I've talked a little bit about houses. You can go super hardcore and do houses if you're into that kind of thing. I felt like the houses were important on this row, especially around the central theme. With the scythe, what on earth is going on there? It appears on the house of the tree, which I think is fascinating. Last and not least, I want to look at the direction that things are moving or influences. So, establishing oneself, a reckoning with social circumstances. So having a reckoning and establishing yourself as someone who will shake things up in Washington, D.C. is what I see moving forward. As far as influences, we're having a reckoning with what we consider to be valuable. We're leaving the stuff that is considered to be excess, if you will, here. We're only taking with us what is the most valuable here. It feels like this election was an emotional, a mental shakeup, a spiritual shakeup, even for Kamala Harris. Even though it was something that they wanted, it was still an unexpected turn for them, I suspect. But yeah, they're going through a shakeup. They're gearing up for the true test, if you will. So, folks, that is what I see with this particular Lenormand reading. Once again, I am not the most experienced, but I am using these videos as a way to get experience, to learn how to read quickly, and all that kind of good stuff. Thank you for watching. If you watched all the way to the end, please subscribe if you're interested in watching me learn a little bit more. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a great one.